Broadcasting live, this is the Handicappers Report, brought to you by the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany, and CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today.
Good morning and welcome to the Handicappers Report, taking a look at the action for Saturday, November 13th. Lucky Saturday the 13th, hopefully for everybody out there. I'm Seth Merrow, live in the studio, joined via Zoom by Brian Nadeau. Brian, good morning.
Yeah, Seth, good to hear from you. Good morning to you as well in the Breeders' Cup aftermath, which I'm sure we'll discuss. Everything's in the rearview mirror now, and as horse racing is prone to do, we always look forward, and in 2022 is on the horizon.
Yeah, and there's still nice racing left. I mean, the Clark down at Churchill and the Cigar Mile is shaping up to be a lot of fun. The Malibu this year, I think, is really going to be a race to watch out in Southern California. Let me just hit people with a couple of promos coming up Saturday today. Fan Appreciation Day at the Rivers Casino. That'll go from 1 until 5. The first 50 folks get a $2 bet voucher and a program. There's a $100 contest. That's today, Fan Appreciation Day at Rivers Casino in Schenectady. Tomorrow, Sunday, NFL Football Sunday. As throughout the NFL season, come on down to the Racebook. Watch all the football action and all the racing action every Sunday through the season here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. And yes, you were at Del Mar, live from Del Mar. We featured you from Del Mar on the Breeders' Cup seminar that we held, and you were there for the 2 days. I saw a picture of your very, very nice seating location. Nice little box seat for you and your buddies out there. Fill us in on the weekend and what it was like. Just give us a little overview first, then we'll maybe hit on a couple specifics.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I mean, Del Mar, if you haven't been out there, it's kind of like Keeneland. It's not a big place, so you get 40,000 people in there, 30,000, 40,000 people. It's tight. But yeah, it was pretty fun weekend. The weather wasn't great, but I know my friends from Saratoga were a lot warmer than I was. But honestly, Seth, it was like 55, 60 degrees, a low 60s. It never really got that high. It did burn off late Saturday afternoon, kind of a typical California day. Starts a little hazy and burns off. But yeah, the crowds were very, very supportive, and there were a lot of people there, Friday included, which can be a little on the tempered side on a Breeders' Cup 2-day weekend. But I thought it was definitely an event. Got to hang out with my good buddy and your buddy Anthony Mormino, so saw him out there, and we had a lot of fun. You see a lot of people. Even my flight from Fort Lauderdale went from Fort Lauderdale to Austin, Texas, and it was obviously a connecting flight, and there were like 40 people on the flight that were going to the Breeders' Cup, and my guys came from Albany, and they said it was just a loaded flight. So it's funny when you go to these major horse racing events, everybody kind of congregates, and you see everybody. There's a lot of fans out there that love to do this. So I had a really good time. So the time change is a little tricky. On my football Sunday at 9 o'clock Sunday morning might have been a little rough in the Gaslamp District downtown San Diego, but we had a lot of fun, and it's always cool. I was like, even as a fan, Seth, before I was in the industry, I always used to go to the Breeders' Cup. I went to Arlington, I went to Lone Star, I went to all these different locations, and I still like doing that even now that I'm in the industry working. So it's a great weekend if you could do it anywhere, and then getting out to California, I think is a lot of fun.
I'm just going to ask you, since you brought up a football story there, kind of. I'm going to ask you a football question. I never really thought about that. But of course here, football Sundays for us out in the Racebook. People come and watch the games. But games here kick off, noon, 1 o'clock. But when you go to a bar, do the places fill up at like 9 o'clock with football fans ready to go?
So we had been to the Gaslamp District in 2017, and that's where we stayed. And the Gaslamp District is like Caroline Street times 80 on Travers night. Obviously, COVID has tempered that a little bit, but so we kind of knew the score a little bit. So we knew where we were going to watch football, and they opened at 9 o'clock Sunday morning. And you damn well better believe we were there at 8:59, because at about 9:15 there were not a lot of seats to be had. So we got the primo. Yeah, it was. And by kickoff, which is 10 a.m., there was nothing to be had. So we weren't, really sure, because obviously now San Diego doesn't have a team anymore. But there's just. And the funny thing about the Gaslamp district is about 30 minutes south of San Diego, and they're like, the Breeders' Cup, what the hell is that? So it's just a lot of people congregating. It's a great town. It's a weekend in San Diego, so you get people from all walks of life that are out there supporting their team. So it was a lot of fun. It was a great kind of recap to the weekend after hitting it pretty hard at Del Mar Friday and Saturday. So even Santa Anita's the same way. You go out there and it's just such a great experience, especially you get guys like you from the Northeast starting to get cold and stuff. So it's just a great experience when the Breeders' Cup is in California.
And let's hit on a couple specifics. I have to go to Friday and the crazy end to the day with the scratch, and then no, not scratch, purse money only. And I was watching the simulcast signal. You could hear it through the simulcast signal. I am assuming you could probably hear it on NBC as well. And I kind of texted it back and forth with you right after it happened. And I've heard the same sentiment subsequently. The boos from the crowd, everybody said they've never experienced anything like that.
Yeah, it was wild. I guess maybe I harken back to Funny Side, and then also Smarty Jones beating Smarty Jones losing, and then Empire Maker beating Funny Side, Birdstone beating Smarty Jones. That was it. But this was loud. It was expansive. It lasted, and it was just Seth, I don't really know how to say it other than it was just a really unfortunate, disappointing, poorly handled experience through and through. The ironic thing about it is the PMO rule is designed to protect the bettor, and it's designed to have the bettor in mind, and that is technically what they were trying to do on Friday. PMO purse money only, and it just didn't work out.
It was absolutely worst case scenario though, because
you couldn't make
first
it up.
The two scratches, and the one becomes a clear-cut favorite. So at the end of the day, the people that had the two were also upset with the purse money only on the one, and then the one wins the race. So it just was. And Jay Perman had a tweet. People were kind of like, well, what can we do? How do we change this? And he said, the upshot is this was just a bad decision by that veterinarian. And it's like it's like a ref calling a phantom pass interference that keeps a touchdown drive alive at the end of a Super Bowl game, with 15 seconds left or what. It's just a bad call, and I don't know whether there's a whole lot they can maybe put in some kind of safety measures, a double check or something, but it just comes down to a guy made a really bad call.
Yeah, and then you read the quotes, and the guy wasn't aware that the horse didn't break through the gate actually, and things like that, and it was just a multitude of errors. And as you kind of said, it was kind of the perfect storm that it all just came together at once and created this terrible situation. I mean, just me being at the track, so just from my vantage point, the infield tote board had the one scratched, and then like the Del Mar TV feed still had odds on him. So it was just just so many different things that were going wrong, and we were like, is he scratched? Is he not scratched? Like, he's 5-2 over here, he's SRC over here, and it was just a bleep show. I mean, It was just not handled well at all from so many different angles. And then the other thing is that I think really makes people mad, Seth, too, is that, then you get the statement from the CHRB, you get the statement from the Breeders' Cup, and even like the next day later, it was like, well, here's the rule, that's what it was. And nobody seemed to want to be accountable. Nobody really seemed to want to say, you know what, we screwed this up. And not that makes it any better, but sometimes when things like that, terrible things happen, if somebody just says, you know what, man, I blew this. It's on me. And nobody seemed to really want to do that. And I think that, makes the masses and the boos and the people that are ticked off get that much madder. So, and then the knee jerk, well, we're going to put this protocol in so it won't happen again. Well, it shouldn't have happened in the first place, So, man, it was just a bad situation. Thank goodness that the horse was okay. That did have to be scratched, because that was a potentially ugly, unfortunate situation. But thank goodness he was fine. At the end of the day, everybody was fine in terms of health and safety. So, I mean,
the first scratch obviously,
it,
a no-brainer on the first scratch.
Of course.
But the second one was just, and then when the statement came out, oh, he reared up and hit his head. Well, if you watch the videotape, it's hard to
he did. And
see that.
And you
that
read
added
William
to the
right,
situation.
and William Buick saying, well, I had to tell the guy we didn't break through the gate. You know what I mean? Like, well, who's watching this? The horse did appear like he appeared like 40 yards past the starting gate on the rail. So I wasn't watching, and a couple of my friends were like, oh, he broke through the gate. And that's what we thought too, because he was down on the rail past the starting gate. And then you read the quotes, and obviously the jockey knows he's on the horse, and he's got to tell the guy that I didn't break.
And I think the starter did the right thing. I think the starter by opening the gate, because when a horse is under, you don't want the legs, you don't want everybody getting tangled up. So he's kind of proactive. So I don't fault him at all. I guess the protocol is more to back horses out, but I don't fault the guy at all for kind of being proactive and, hey, we got a situation here, let's clear things out, not make it any worse.
And then the one more thing is that so everybody gets the PTF, and that's Dakota Gold, and then you read the next day that his 85 buyer, which was huge in that field, well, there was a timing error at Monmouth Park that day, and you're just like, oh my God. And I mean, me personally, and I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed and smartest guy out there, but like, I don't understand how we can't time these races correctly. And that's just, we'd have to do another seminar and another 2-hour show to talk about that. But it's like the
timing technology strangely seems to have gone backwards for some reason. I mean, it seems worse now than it was 20 years ago.
Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And I don't understand it. And it's the one thing, if we want to attract new bettors to this game, and we're all football fans, and you've got every stat at your disposal, and it'd be like if Sunday night the Chiefs game ends and Patrick Mahomes had 272 yards passing, and then next Thursday the NFL's like, oh, by the way, he actually only had 221 yards. You're like, no, that's not possible. So I don't understand it. I don't think I ever will, but this run up and all that. But the fact we can't time races correctly, and in the new age better, these, I think of poker, and there's these guys at just a different level. They're voracious for information and stats and things like that. If we can't get that right, how are you going to attract like a sports bettor that is just poring over stats and looking at all these stats, and that's, at the end of the day, the times of races are imperative to get right. And man, it's very frustrating.
And just quickly,
and back. Yeah, just one word. And back to my original point, it's like if Dakota and I don't know what the buyer would have been, but if it was like a 71, he might have been the fifth choice. And now you're talking about somebody else who maybe Kenny McPeek's Hit It to Bomb is the quote unquote winner of the sequence, is now the favorite. And it's just man, it's just tough,
Just quickly, because we got to get into Churchill and Aqueduct, but. Sure. Results on Saturday. Well, Echo Zulu, I thought looked really good, obviously, but then you go to Saturday. I was disappointed. I wanted Latruska to put the exclamation point on the season. I still think she's the champion, but I'm wondering if that pace scenario, that meltdown, that crazy pace, then played into the Classic. John Velasquez said Medina Spirit broke a little slowly, or he would have gone up and maybe challenged, but given the way it played out early in the race. By the backstretch, you had to feel pretty good if you had Knicks Go. I had a Knicks Go Essential Quality exact either way. It was paying 22 either way, so I was hoping Essential Quality could get up and get second. That would have helped the weekend for me. But again, some thoughts on the finale there. Knicks Go looking really good in the Classic.
Well, I don't understand this sentiment that I hear a lot of people, you see Twitter and all these talking heads and stuff saying, well, they gave the race to Knicks Go and Medina Spirit didn't press him and that was ridiculous. The horse went 22-3 in a 1.25 mile race for the second quarter. It's 2021, people. That's Sonic. The reason nobody pressed him is because they couldn't. I mean, that's if you said for the race to everybody else, Knicks Go is going to go 45-3 to the 1/2 mile, they would have been like licking their lips and saying, "Oh yeah, he's finally going to come off the bridle and finish 5th." How much faster? I don't understand that.
And if somebody had been up there looking him in the eye in those fractions, maybe he does fade. Being out there, they get a little more courage. But you would have faded too. You wouldn't have been there at the end either.
Absolutely. And all these people, well, John Velasquez, they were giving John Velasquez back for the ride. Well, I don't see anywhere in the PPs where Medina Spirit could go 45-3. It's that, to be able to do that, and then he levels off in the lane and just, laughs at that field. Just settle down, people. Golf clap for just an absolutely awesome performance. Yeah. Because everybody had the chance in that race. He couldn't have run any faster, and he just absolutely fried them all. And I thought it was a just monstrous effort. And how is he not? He paid $820 or something like that too. It was like crazy.
Yeah, I thought he would be the favorite in Essential Quality. The price was,
I did
in
too.
2020 hindsight, but still, like I say, I thought the exact that was very nice on those two. But all right, let's jump in. Got to get to the Saturday action. I'm going to take a look at Aqueduct's opening weekend in just a moment, but you're going to take things through the Churchill card for Saturday. The opener down at Churchill, we're looking at $50,000 claimers. They will go 3/4 mile.
Yeah, we'll zip through early here a little bit because it's a good late pick 5, and we're behind a little bit. One sheet's been going pretty good, so hopefully we can keep it going. I'll give those kind of selections here. 3-5 over the 2 in the opener. Heart Full of Soul for Mac Roberts. Come back out of the way last time against Tons Better. And I'm wondering if this is a spot he had in mind all along off this kind of break. Second day off, and we should move forward here on the drop. Number 5, Alberta Sun off the Maker claim. Gaffaleone is here. Claim this one from Diodoro, so it's tough to improve. And then Sparkle of Hope for Greg Foley and Mitchell Merrill. Both high percentage guys. Mitchell's having a really, really strong so far. 3-5 over the 2. Early pick 5 time at Churchill.
And our buddy Joe Christofek has one of the Brilliant Racing horses in here. Busy Echo. Always like to root for folks we know, and I know Brilliant has some local owners involved in some of their horses, and congratulations to them. The other day they won with Eskin for it, but it was a kind of a yin and a yang. One with Eskin for it, and then the horse was claimed.
Yeah, Joe was bummed. I talked to him, and he said, Dobby better kind of thing, because that was like their absolute
Kenny.
Barn pet. They call him Kenny. Yeah, Kenny. So Chris Hartman claimed him. So Joe is up close and personal all winter at Fairgrounds.
But again, congratulations to the win the other day for them. Second race at Churchill. Again, $50,000 claimers. This time, the 1-turn mile.
Early pick 4, it's just 3 over the 4-6. I think Ring Me Darling's just better. He's a pretty modest group here. And you know what? She's got 2 wins in a race where everybody else has 1 win. She's fast on paper, whether it be the Buyers or the Thoroughgraphs, and she just looks better than a pretty modest group of 2-year-old fillies. I put Anna Gangsta in second for Brad Cox, and then number 6, Miss Chamita, in third on the drop from the Pocahontas. Now, she didn't do any running that day, but the maiden back was solid enough at Ellis, and she can pass horses in the lane. I think that's a good thing. But I like the favorite here, 3 over the 4-6.
Behind Hidden Connection, that one was a disappointment the other day. Hidden
Yeah,
Connection.
you know what? And that was a very frustrating race too, Seth, because you got by far the best horse in the race, and she set plow horse splits. And it was like, why isn't anybody going with her? I mean, you could see if she you could see if she, pulled a Knicks go and she just completely ran off the field off their feet. She went 47-1 to the half mile. It's like, and the same thing happened in the juvenile. You got Corniche all the way outside. He's by far the best horse, and 9, 10 other jockeys let him clear from the parking lot. I mean, how do you not float him 6 wide? 2 of them were Baffert horses.
Let him clear, bang, bang, bang. It was like,
oh my goodness.
How did he get to the rail that quick?
Yeah. Right. To his credit, he did run a hard second quarter, but there's just, I'm like, those guys should be fired. How do you let that horse clear from the parking lot? He's 7-5. Like, no, he should be 8 wide going into the first turn, not in front of you all. It's just a bad job.
Yeah. Third race at Churchill on Saturday, optional claimer with the C condition, 1 mile is the trip.
Yeah, you know what? I was like, okay, they're title ready's coming back from Dubai, and maybe they're using this as a prep to the Clark, but the Clark's in like 2 weeks, so it's kind of a weird race because it seemingly would be a springboard to the Clark. I've just got a 2-1, the class drop for Rushy, and I think Rushy's got a big recency edge over Title Ready. You could make the argument that Title Ready's as good or if not better than Rushy, but today on November 13th, I think Rushy will beat him. He's got more tactical speed too. The blinkers go on for Michael McCarthy. Rushy's been in solid form, but he's just been facing too much better, and now he's with friends, and I think he'll be okay in here. Title Ready at second, and Daly's probably trying to get him ready for the Pegasus or another big winter at Fairgrounds, and he's pretty good when he's right, and I think he'll need this. So we'll just go straight 2-1 here to the hoops at South Bend if somebody's running third.
Kentucky racing is it's incredible, and Joel Rosario is down there now chasing an Eclipse Award. I think maybe over the weekend he kind of solidified that. But I say that because this third race, an optional claimer, $148,000 purse. I mean, it's a stakes level purse.
And I'm going to tell you what, Seth, it's really kind of thrown the gauntlet to New York.
Absolutely.
Because, you're seeing Bill Mott, Shug has mentioned it. He's like, well, look at all the money. I got to go. Now Joel's there. And it'll be interesting to see if New York's got a counter to it. Or what have you, because there's no doubt they're losing Barnes to Kentucky for this monopoly money they're giving away.
Yeah, you put up those kind of purses, the old Field of Dreams kind of put up the money and they will come. Fourth race is a starter allowance, 7 furlongs the trip.
I took a little shot with a price here, 1.5 over the 2. There does seem to be a lot of speed in here. Diva Banker down inside for Ray Handa, who brought a select crew to Kentucky. So obviously he thinks these kind of horses fit. Diva Banker can settle and get first run. She's got to improve off her last, but I think she can. In the pace, the race flow will flatter her. I've got this one on top. New York bred too. Ray done a good job. He brought her to Oakland, and he's done a good job with this horse. Number 5, Absolute Love, is another one that can settle a little bit for Gaffalione and Sharp. So I do think she is the horse to beat. And then Our Musical Moment closed last time. Really ran well with a big number against State Breds at Remington. How that plays here, I don't know. Excuse me. Maybe she regresses a little bit with the big buy or two, but she can pass horses as well. 1.5 over the 2, and that's another pick 5 at Churchill. I love how they do that.
Yeah, Diva Banker, they claimed this horse at the beginning of the year for $5,000 at Turfway. Then they came up and faced some State Breds and have subsequently put $70-some thousand in the bank. That was a nice claim. Fifth race at Churchill on Saturday. Maiden specials going 5.5.
2, 3, 6, and they. I don't know if Icy Stared down can run, but they paid $425 for her as a daughter of Frosted. Second foal out of the dam, who is kin to a couple big money earners, 564 and 363. So there's some pedigree power here. It's Brad Cox, it's Giroux. There's a lot of reason to like this filly, and the other reason is the proven runners in here are not much. I put the 3. Lady Arsenault in second for Tom Amos, a good third on debut. It was a relatively slow race at Keeneland, but she can move forward off that. The number 6 Baravina for Brian Lynch, Joel Rosario. The dam was 4 for 18, earned $180,000. You look at that bullet gate drill on November 10th. Rosario is here. That's a good sign. Lynch, I think, is an underrated 15% with firsters as well. So it wouldn't surprise me if she strikes too. I do think if the money shows on some of these firsters, you could be all right here. This is another pick 4 as well, because like I said, the proven runners, Lady Arsenault is okay, but they're not overwhelmingly fast on paper. And when that that happens, you're at the risk of a good firster.
Race number 6, $50,000 claimer once again. This one at 8.5 furlongs.
3-4-6-1. I did not have a strong opinion here. I went with the Cox Giroux runner. She passed horses. He passed horses last time. And, he ran it last time at Los Alamitos Racecourse for Andrew Lerner. And he's a 16% barn, but, no disrespect to him whatsoever. But Brad is, very adept at moving horses up. And I would think if he moves this horse up, he's going to be tough. Even if he doesn't, if he runs back to that race last time, he's going to be tough. So Charter Oak on top, Mr. Creed in second for Brendan Walsh. Took the Lasix off, put the blinkers on, and looked really good winning at Churchill last time at this trip. That bodes well. Ginsu Warrior, the other Cox, and then number 1, Long Crow down inside. These are all horses that have been able to settle and pass horses late. I think that bodes well in what might be a little battle of attrition down the stretch going 2 turns at Churchill. 3-4-6-1, that kicks off that Derby City 6 as well.
And we will kick off the late pick 5 on Saturday at Churchill after we take a break. So stay tuned. The Handicapper's Report will continue.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
Welcome back to the Handicapper Report. Seth, Merrow, and Brian Nadeau. Brian is taking a look at Churchill on Saturday, and we'll pick it up with the late pick 5. Race number 7 on Saturday, optional claimer, non-winners of 2 other than 5.5 furlongs the distance.
Just 2-1, 2 over the 1-4 for me. Miss Mosaic for Ben Colebrook, a drop in class. And I look at the 2 runs at Saratoga and Churchill prior to the TCA when she was in way over her head last time. They were big runs with big figures from a little bit off the pace, and just plenty of speed for her to settle just off of. Today, Miss T2 for Bill Mott down and said, hey, we mentioned Bill Mott, and here's one of these horses. This horse hasn't been out since November of 2020, pops up at Churchill as opposed to maybe Belmont or even Aqueduct. So I like Miss Mosaic. I did put Miss T2 in second. She's probably going to have to gut this out on the lead, which is a little problematic for me. A huge race. 2 back, but again, the layoff here is worrisome. Number 4, Song River, is probably going to be pressing Miss T2, and it's another reason I like Miss Mosaic, because maybe the 1 and the 4 wilt each other. Miss Mosaic's licking her chops from 3rd spot and the Garden spot. 2 over the 1-4, kicking off the late pick 5.
Pick 4 action in race number 8. Again, maiden specials. These are 2-year-olds that will travel the 1-turn mile.
And this is the best bet of the day for me. Mask Patrol for Brendan Walsh. 5 over the 10-7. Late pick 4 here. Brendan's okay first time, but you think of him as a patient horseman that gets his horses to kind of progress. And Mask Patrol, to me, the fact that this one ran so well to be 4th with a good figure on debut. They bet him that day, 9-2 in a 10-horse field. They paid a lot of money. This is Chester Thomas's Allied Racing. So they paid $310 for this Son of Hard Spun. That's a big number. I love that debut. Now we go from 6.5 furlongs to a mile, still one turn. And I just think it's all systems go for Mask Patrol. Best bet of the day. Number 10, Epicenter outside for Steve Asmussen. Joel Rosario is here, so I think that's a positive because Santana's still searching, I believe. I know he was entering Thursday, excuse me. So he's still searching. I like Epicenter's debut. Pressed, dueled, then tired. Wasn't bet that day. It was a good race. I think he moves forward. Seal Beach beat him that day. Beat him pretty comfortably. Then he tried Grade 1 Breeders' Futurity as a maiden. He's back with friends today, and he's fine. And he was moving forward for Mike Maker. I'm just not sure much more of a ceiling he's got. Whereas look at Mask Patrol, look at Epicenter. They're still going to move forward. So best bet of the day, Mask Patrol, 5 over the 10-7.
Turn the page to race number 9. An allowance non-winners of 2 other than 6 furlongs is the distance.
It's tough to do anything but come up with the 3 or the 5, Seth. And I went Girl with a Dream over Lady Danae. That's because she's got dirt form. Lady Danae is all turf. So it's 3-5 over the 2. I mean, Girl with a Dream, you throw out the spin away behind the champion Echo Zulu, and she's run very, very well in 2 starts for Brad Cox. She's tactical, whereas Lady Danae might not have as much speed. She's never tried dirt. So I think that's the deciding factor. To me, I'd probably Dutch these 2 in the pick 4, 5, and 4 because you're going to get through. I would think those are the 2 I use. Divine Charger down beneath because she's another turf horse, but she's by Will Take Charge of a pulpit mare. So there's plenty of main track here, and she's also can pass some horses. And I would think some of these are going to come unglued a little bit in that 6 furlong. But I'll go 3-5 over the 2 in the 9th. Last pick 3 of the day at Churchill.
Race number 10, it is the Dream Supreme, $300,000 up for grabs for fillies and mares sprinting 6 furlongs.
So, a lot of people were up in arms that the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint only had 6 entries, 5 ran. And this is, this is the problem when you've got the money coming out of your ears. Churchill just makes up a race, and here's $300,000, and it keeps Sconson and Bells to 1 in the barn. And that's, you run, Gamine was 1-5, and she didn't win, obviously. But, these gals, if they get second, they get $200,000. If they win this, they get $180, and they're running out of their stalls. So it just is what it is. But that's one of the reasons why races like that only get 5-6 horses. I'll take the tactical speed of Sconson over the stretch run of Bells to 1 every single time. It's just, to me, it's racing 101, and they've traded decisions. They've got a really cool rivalry. Greg Foley, Neil Pessin, Bob Lothenbach with Bells to 1. I just like the tactical speed of Sconson over the kick of Bells to 1. So it's 4-6 Club Car in the middle of the 5. She ran very, very well behind Bells to 1 in the TCA last time. I need to see her back that up. Where the cool thing about Sconson and Bells to 1, they just answer, no pun intended, but they just answer the bell every single time. They're there every single time. I don't trust Club Car nearly as much. Sconson over Bells to 1, the Club Car in 3rd. It's a cool race. It's a cool rivalry. Connections. I had Neil Pessin on my show. I know Greg Foley's a friend of mine. Great guys, those Foleys. So it's cool to see these guys have two really good top class filly and mare sprinters.
Wrapping it up just after 6 o'clock on Saturday, the 11th at Churchill, maiden specials going a mile.
4 over the 1-5. I don't think we're going to see any Derby prospects coming out of this one. So it looks like a pretty modest group. Call Me Midnight has really run well in his last 2 for Keith Desormo. It's go time today. Almanzo down inside. 2 solid starts to start the career. Stretches out a little bit. And Schmooze. I will say this. Kenny McPeak, we thought, he had a big Keeneland. Oh, my goodness, what a Churchill he's having. His guy, Brian Hernandez, is here. This is the son of Malibu Moon, second full out of the dam. Arm Candy was the other one, earned $198,000. Don't be surprised if this horse can run a little bit. 4 over the 1-5 to wrap it up at 6:06 in the p.m. at Churchill Downs.
And we'll wrap it up for the Churchill segment. We'll take a break, come back, and shift our attention to Aqueduct's opening weekend. Stay tuned.
We had started it years ago, and to me it's a privilege to be able to do this, and I mean that sincerely. And we see the need for it more and more. And when you do see the people that are in line for the turkeys, it makes it all well worth it.
Where's the best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat-screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
I'm Seth Merrow, and as serious horse players, we know that information is critical when placing a bet. With live streaming of more than 30 tracks, race replays, free past performances, and daily picks from professional handicappers, no one gives you more up-to-the-minute information than Capital OTB. Combine that with the best player awards in New York State, and you have everything a serious horse player needs to be successful.
Win more with Capital OTB.
Winning starts here.
Welcome back to the Handicappers Report. Brian and Seth with you. The post-Saturday edition after the Breeders' Cup. We got through 11 at Churchill. Seth coming up here. 10 at Aqueduct. Take note, too. I'm glad I picked this up. It's an 11:50 post later today on Saturday, so that's a little weird. So take note of that. It's an early post here. The opener at 11:50. 3 and up, $16,000 claimers, 6 furlongs on the main track.
1, 5, 4, and 6 for me. I put Summer Bourbon on top. Took a little bit of a break most of the summer off. Since coming back has run well. 1 at this 16 level 2 back. Bounced a half a step up and ran second against 20s. Goes back down to 16. I think in good form. Fits nicely. Summer Bourbon on top. Cantrell Hill in the second slot. Super popular at the claim box. And been running against better. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but at the claim for 20 and, you get claimed away for 16 and you hit the board, you're okay. So I think they're just kind of shopping around for the proper spot. And then Grand Cacique comes up from Gulfstream and drops into this 16 level. I think it's going to be a cozy fit for this bunch. Was racing for one of the Nodas down at Gulfstream. Now comes up and moves into the Orlando Noda barn. And as I say, should be competitive in here with Irod Ortiz on board. In the opener at Aqueduct, 1, 5, 4, and 6.
Early pick 4 time in the second on the outer turf. It was looking good on Thursday. I know they were off on Friday. So take note, Seth, you can probably talk about the weather. It's a $40,000 maiden claimer here. 3 and up. It's a mile and a 16th on that outer turf course.
Yeah, and again, dirt selections available on the website, capitalotb.com. Pull up the handicapper support link. I will give the dirt selections, but I'll handicap for turf. Should it be on dirt? 5, 7, 15, and 16. Dirt. 5, 7, 15, and 16. Turf. 10, 5, 6, and 2. We'll put Ghostman on top. Nice second place finish last time for Rudy Rodriguez. Been banging around this kind of company. And a little bit inconsistent as far as the finishing position, but typically throws pretty consistent numbers, pretty consistent buyers, and those are good enough in here. So again, off the race last time and those numbers, this horse typically throws Ghostman on top. Lucky Brody in the second spot. Orlando Noda trainee going maiden special weight to maiden claiming. This is mostly a dirt horse throughout the career, and the one turf race wasn't much. So I'm a little bit concerned about that, but I think all that may be mitigated by the class move. And then Seanan in the third spot, Christophe Clement runner that probably got a little bit of an education in the debut. It wasn't much, and it was behind Ghostman and well behind Ghostman. But again, it was one of those where maybe the horse just needed to start, help to figure it out for himself, and some improvement this afternoon. I think that is very possible. So in the second at Aqueduct, 10, 5, 6, and 2.
Race 3 is a $25,000 3L fillies and mares, 3 and up, the 3-year-olds, or it's a never won 3 for the older, 6 furlongs on the main track.
6, 2, 7, and 1. We'll put Bob on top for 10 strike and Marshall Graham. Michelle Giangulio trained, and they claimed this horse out of a win up at Saratoga. Then they went down to Parks and tried an optional claimer starter allowance. That group was maybe a little saltier than this one wanted. I think moving back to New York and the conditional claiming ranks puts this horse back to a spot closer to what we saw 2 back. Quantitative Breezing in the second slot, also claimed out of a nice win at this level. 1 condition down, but at this level. And like the top pick, faced saltier last time, but gets back to the comfort zone today. And in the third slot, Rosie's Peach has some nice positional early speed. Did not show it last time, but I think taking a little half a step down the claiming ladder, this horse should be competitive with this bunch. In the third, I have it 6, 2, 7, and 1.
The inner turf for the fourth, it's a 1X for state breds. Fillies and mares 3 and up. We go a mile and a 16th.
And again, should it go on the dirt, 15, 6, 7, and 16. But on the turf, 10, 7, 8, and 3. I thought the 1 Unicorn Sally was also playable in here. Wouldn't talk anybody off of that one. But I went No Pain on top. Stretches out from some sprints. I just thought the angle was maybe a little bit intriguing. This horse broke the maiden 2 back, got a little education at this non-winners of 1 level last time. And as I say, stretching out at 8 to 1, I thought this horse was playable and interesting. Second slot, Tales of McKenna. I'm going to kind of go on the first to Linda Rice angle off the claimed away from George Weaver, claimed out of a win in an off-the-turf event. But the 2 turf races just prior fit really nicely with this group. So again, moving into the Linda Rice barn, lightly raced, good form over the last few starts. Tales of McKenna is perfectly logical. And I think the 6 to 1, if that morning line holds up, I think that's really generous. Third slot, we'll take a look at Home for Christmas. Broke the maiden 3 back, then ran 4th at this level 2 back, ran 2nd last time. So moving in the right direction, figuring out this next level up, this non-winners of 1, and should be primed for a good effort this afternoon. In the 4th at Aqueduct, 10, 7, 8, and 3.
Race 5 kicks off the dollar pick 6, a $30,000 maiden claimer. 3 and up, we go 6.5 on the main track.
3, 5, 9, and 7. I think the 8 is also playable. Will take charge, but I put Mr. JT on top. Tried the turf last time, and it wasn't much of an effort. But the dirt races just prior were pretty good. Now, they were back in the spring, so now we have the second off a summertime layup, getting back to maybe the preferred surface, taking a little step down the claiming ladder from last time. I just think there's check marks in enough columns to think the Dave Donk runner should be live in here. Second slot, Blame It on Brutus. I thought the career debut was pretty good and fits with this group. The follow-up, not so much, but the follow-up was also a stretch out on the turf. Getting back to the dirt sprint, I'll look for Blame It on Brutus to rebound, and then Ricky's Revenge in the third slot. Nice try last time in an effort that may indicate a little horse for a course, maybe like Belmont, so we'll see. That maybe doesn't bode well today because the Saratoga races weren't as promising. And now that we're over at Aqueduct circumference-wise and whatnot is maybe a little closer to Saratoga. But again, there was also the factor of the horse was moving down the claiming ladder last time. I'm going to hang my hat a little more on that and had a little more experience. So in the 5th at Aqueduct, 3, 5, 9, and 7.
Started it 2 years ago, and to me it's a privilege to be able to do this, and I mean that sincerely. And we see the need for it more and more, and when you do see the people that are in line for the turkeys, it makes it all well worth it.
Come on!
I want sales reports on my desk by Monday.
Whoops.
My bad.
Love racing? RTN brings you every live simulcast on your home television, plus live video streaming and race replays on your PC and mobile devices. To order, visit rtn.tv. RTN, a breed apart.
Late pick 5 time in race 6. We are back on the outer turf here. It's a maiden special weight for 2-year-olds. We go 6 furlongs.
Should it go on dirt? 2, 13, 1, and 3. But on turf, 1, 3, 8, and 7. I will put Chanceau on top. Todd Pletcher, trainee, by Spikestown, so a little bit of win early breeding. Didn't quite live up to that in the debut, but I thought ran well enough to think, you know what, this is a little foundation to build on and move forward from. So we'll put Chanceau on top. Number 3, Urban Forest in the second slot. Bill Mott, trainee, looked pretty good in debut. Follow-up, not so much. So this is one of those where you're in a little bit of a dilemma. But I just thought debut was a sprint. The second start was 2 turns. They were both on dirt. I'm going to trust Bill Mott to be maybe making a clever move here. And the sprint on turf maybe gets this one closer to what we saw in that debut effort. Snow Candy in the third spot. Another one of those that the debut was okay. Wasn't stellar. Showed a little bit of improvement number-wise in the second start, but it was an off-the-turfer. Now third start back, gets back to a turf sprint. Again, up numbers that were moving in the right direction. Another one that could be a player. In the sixth at Aqueduct, 1, 3, 8, and 7.
Late pick 4 time in the 7th. It's an optional claimer for state breds. These are fillies and mares 3 and up. We go 6.5 on the main in a very, very good race.
2, 5, 1, and 7. The number 2, Breakfast at Bonnie's, very lightly raced runner for Danny Garrigan. It's going to be a catch me if you can scenario, and I think this horse may be well suited to going out and just kind of blitzing him on the front end. You know, the number last time went in the wrong direction, but gutted it out and off the turfer. The debut was certainly a good-looking effort. I'm hoping we're getting back to that. I should say the numbers are going in the wrong direction, but again, with that early speed, we'll look for Breakfast at Bonnie's to take them all the way around. Beautiful Karen, the number 5, also, excuse me, has some nice early positional speed and should be sitting right there challenging. And with the more experience under the belt, may wind up being the horse that has the punch and the stretch. We'll see. Again, being lightly raced, I think Breakfast at Bonnie's maybe has a little more upside potential, but what we've seen so far from Beautiful Karen certainly touts that one as very playable. And then Honey Money in the third spot. I'm going to draw a line through the last race. It wasn't especially, compelling as compared to what shows up earlier on the page. And I think maybe getting back to Wayne Potts. Wayne Potts was on suspension, and that was his assistant who had the horse last time. But I think getting back to Wayne Potts being in the barn maybe will help this one to get a better performance. In the 7th at Aqueduct, 2, 5, 1, and 7.
Race 8, it's a 1X for 3 and up. We go 6 on the main track.
5, 1, 3, and 4, Happy Medium, another one of these that's lightly raced but has shown some real potential. And, this horse can regress off of that last start and still have a super edge on this bunch. It's just, do you buy that number? I'm not quite sure what to make of it. But as I say, it doesn't have to be spot on. We could be about 10 points off, and I think Happy Medium still has an edge. So I'll put that one on top, but it's going to be very interesting to see how this one plays out off of that eye-popping effort last time. Naughty Prince in the second spot. Again, the buyer on the top pick is so far advanced. Once you get down to the second slot, these horses are kind of competitive, but I thought Naughty Prince has been in good form down at Parks and should translate to New York well. Rejected again on the turf last time. I thought the dirt starts just before were good enough to put this horse right in the hunt, probably for, again, as I say, that second slot. We'll see. American Monarch is interesting, hasn't been seen in a while, and I say a lot of times, lightly raced 2-year-olds that have a break, 2 to 3 certainly have a break. They can come back improved. An American Monarch may be one of those horses that if there's a price floating out there, I didn't use the horse in my mix because the numbers are just a little too light, but I wouldn't be shocked. And if this one is floating around at a decent price, might be worth taking a little bit of a look at. But for me in the 8th at Aqueduct, 5, 1, 3, and 4.
The feature, the 9th, the Artie Schiller, 3 and up, 150 on the line. We go a mile on the inner turf.
Should it go on the dirt? 9, 10, and 5 on the turf. 6-3, 1-4. Tell Your Daddy on top. Tom Morley, runner, just in super good form right now. Keeneland Turf Mile ran a good second. Won the race, the Bernard Baruch up at Saratoga before that. So again, this horse is just in raging good form right now. We'll put that one on top. Rinaldi took him all the way in the Forbidden Apple up at Saratoga, and then just got in a ding-dong battle in the West Point and faded late. Has been off since then, but with the early speed becomes very dangerous, particularly if able to get back to that start 2 back. And then Flavius for Chad Brown. And again, another one, 2 back up at Saratoga, ran a very impressive winning stakes effort. Followed that up trying a stakes race down at Kentucky Downs and was competitive, but wound up 5th in there. But again, a quirky track. I think we'll get back to this afternoon closer to what we saw up at Saratoga. Fun race, competitive race. For me in the 9th, I have it 6-3, 1-4.
And we will wrap it up in race 10. It's a state-bred $40,000 maiden claimer. These are 2-year-old fillies going 6.5 on the main.
3, 7, 4, and 9. I thought the 10 was also playable in here. Classic miss for Rudy Rodriguez. But I put Bestrita on top. They paid 90 and they debut for 40. That's always a concern. But I thought there was a little bit of breeding here. And this just isn't that strong of a field. The horses that have run haven't been much. So I thought it was one where you could look for a fresh face. I went back and forth between this one and Tap the Heart for Todd Pletcher. But I wound up putting Bestrita on top. And I thought Half Birthday may benefit from the career debut. Showed some speed before fading. And of those that have run, I thought the Brad Cox trainee maybe gets something out of that experience to build on. So I put that one second and then Tap the Heart third. Again, this is a race where I think you can look for a fresh face. And I thought Tap the Heart may be one of those horses to live up to that in a weak field. Fun to see how it's going to play out. But again, not a stellar bunch, but for me, 3, 7, 4, and 9 in the finale. Let me mention once again that today there is a Fan Appreciation Day at the Capital OTB branch in the Rivers Casino down in Schenectady. That'll go from 1 to 5. First 50 folks get a bet voucher and a racing program. There's also a contest. That's Fan Appreciation Day, Rivers Casino in Schenectady on Saturday afternoon. Sunday, come on down to the Racebook for an NFL Sunday. Enjoy the racing action and the football action every Sunday throughout the season here at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. All right, we're going to wrap things up for the Handicapper Report for this Saturday morning. Brian, thanks. Good luck.
Sounds good, Seth. We'll catch up next Saturday.
Very good. We'll wrap it up. We'll wish you good luck. Stay tuned. Top of the hour, Racing Across America.
OTB TV, a service of Capital Off Track Betting.